morning, Randy Tieber here out in Arizona, Labor Day 2020. Yes, folks, we're getting closer to the end of this awful year. At any rate, this is my second attempt at this video. As of yesterday, my camera dropped the audio, and I have no idea why. And I do not have the ability to do voiceover, or not voiceover, but separate audio, whatever it's called. It escapes me at the moment. This is another senior moment for me. Anyway, yesterday my vlog, what I had intended to do was Friday night. Fletch Dyna and Chopper Fett had one of their webcasts, and the discussion was Harley Davidsons, and it came around after much discussion with the different persons that were on the webcast. Are Harley Davidsons reliable? Well, my opinion is this: I think they are reliable. The last several Harley Davidsons I've had have been extremely reliable, supremely reliable, even to quote Phil Egan. As reliable as a car, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to preface that with the fact that I do not get involved in heavy motor work or any of that stuff. What I'll do is the basic Harley thing, the pipes and air cleaner, sometimes a tuner. I'm fond of Vance & Hines tuners when I do a tuner. My current bike, my Heritage, just has slip-ons, and it runs great with just the slip-ons. The S&S slip-ons that I have on it are what they call the 50 state legal ones, and they're just fine. Did not require any retuning. Runs just as good, if not better, than stock. But back onto that subject. If you're changing cams and bumping up your compression and doing big bore motors and things of that nature, you are not going to be as reliable. Horsepower has a price, and the price is generally reliability and longevity of your motors. Now, there's a lot of good motor builders out of there, and there's a lot of shade tree mechanics that think they know what they're doing, and so you have to be careful who you have do your motor work. I know Harley Davidson has the stage kits, and you can have it done there at the dealership, and it's covered under factory warranty. That's good. They do require you to use their stuff and their tuners and everything, so you know your horsepower gains are modest, although the stage 4 numbers are pretty impressive. But then again, you're not going to have the standard reliability. Now, Harley Davidsons in the past, in old days, had their issues. I came up on shovelheads and ironhead sportsters, and they had their problems. They required a lot of maintenance, probably more maintenance than most people are willing to do anymore. Just a lot of things you had to do at certain intervals. You had to clean your clutches, you had to adjust lifters, you had to do a lot of things now that have been I'm going to cut off here, that you had to do. You had to be sort of a backyard mechanic in order to keep your bikes running, unless you had a lot of money to spend, which back in the days of my 20s and 30s, I did not have a lot of money to spend. All my money was spent on that motorcycle generally, you know, and then I wasted the rest of it on like food and shelter. But and beer, of course, because beer is the common denominator in this world. But yeah, the more power you get, and there's probably some logarithmic scale that talks about how your reliability goes down. Now, that being said, I have friends that have pumped up motors that they're generally reliable, but they've had more work done than I ever do. And anyway, you know, and you know, the Harley Davidson reliability started really gaining some ground back in the, get over here, back in the days when the Evos came out. They were really, okay, I have completely lost my, I don't usually approach from this side of the, so apologize folks, I got a little discombobulated there for a second. Anyway, back on track. The Harleys, the Evos, were really reliable. I had an FXR, a 1984 model, but I put 98,000 miles on it. Now, was it completely trouble-free? No, it wasn't, but I rode it a lot, and I rode it in hard situations out here in Arizona where conditions are extreme. You got the heat and the dust, and you have to change your oil, you know, pretty often out here to keep things good, because the heat breaks things down, and you have dust storms, and you just have a lot of dust and sandy soil out here. And I have always kind of laughed at people who didn't run air cleaners. I just thought that was crazy. You know, if you like that, and some of the air cleaners that we had back in the 80s, the aftermarket ones you'd buy, had these like Brillo pad type air filter elements, and I don't think they stopped anything smaller than chicken from going through your motor. But shovel heads, they you know, you were lucky to get 2 seasons out of your top end. But anyway, but back to Evos, I had a friend that put over 200,000 miles on an Evo with just a couple of top end jobs and whatever, and he rode the snot out of that bike in the heat, in the cold, in all conditions. And every Evo I've had has been supremely reliable. They did have some oil leaks and things that people talk about. The twin cams that I've had, outside of a bad sensor, engine temperature sensor that failed on me, I never had a single problem with an Evo. I've never replaced the charging system. I've had batteries last 2 and 3 years, which is surprising to me. As long as you're riding them, the batteries seem to be okay with these new AGM batteries. I haven't tried any of the lithium-ion batteries, but I can't really justify the additional expense, and then having to buy a different charger if you need one. But other than that, you know, my Harleys have all been really reliable, and even the old ones that I had, they got me to where I was going. I was stranded only a couple times, and even then, it wasn't too far away. I was lucky. I did bend a push rod out in the middle of nowhere and had to listen to it rattle till I was replaced the push rod, but that was on a shovel head, and that was back in the early 80s, and it was an aftermarket part. Back when I would buy whatever part was cheapest, and got a lot of Taiwan and Chinese parts that are sold by manufacturers that I won't mention, that source most of their stuff from overseas. They're very big. They're very big in the aftermarket, and I think you can figure out who I'm talking about. Well, I won't buy that stuff anymore. It just I got tired of having to file and drill and bend and just modify the stuff just to get it fit. You know, I will buy Harley Davidson accessories because, number one, they're warranted, and number two, they fit and they work. I've never had a problem with a Harley Davidson accessory fitting or working as it was advertised. Now, I'm sure that other people have, and anybody can get a bad item, but for the most part, I really like their stuff. So, to surmise, yes, I think Harley Davidson is as reliable as anything out there. If you have even a Honda, you can have a problem with a Honda too, and Hondas are known for reliability. BMW is the same thing, and you better hope your BMW is reliable, because the parts are crazy expensive, service is expensive. I think BMW stands for Bring My Wallet, and that's tongue-in-cheek, no offense intended reference there to people that ride BMWs. I think they're awesome. I would love to have a GS. But they cost as much as my Harley or more. So, anyway, just out for a Sunday morning. Actually, it's Monday morning. It's Labor Day, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And I'm going to get out early, and before it gets hot, it's going to be another 111 degree day. Another 54th day over 110 this year. And I was reading it on the news last night, the 27th day that the low temperature was in the 90s. Man, I'm ready for this to end. But today's video, I came from a different direction. I rode 30 miles out just so that I could record this video without having the sun in my face. So it's about 7:30 in the morning, and it's probably 90, but there's a little hint of cool to the air as you're moving. Not so much when you're stopped, but such is life out here in the desert. And I know some people have it worse. It's kind of hard to imagine that people are literally coming to the end of their summers here in early September. We've got at least another month and a half of temperatures right around 100 or even in the high 90s. It really won't cool down till pretty much the mid to end of November is when we finally get highs back in the 70s again. But then the season starts and it's glorious. Yeah, I'm hoping to get out. Get some riding in. I'll probably do 150 miles today before the holiday traffic starts coming back south down out of the mountains. You definitely want to be off the roads by the time that happens. It gets very busy. So, the last summer holiday of the year. Anyway, this is Randy T-Bird out here in warm, hot, sunny Arizona. And I will be signing off. Okay, don't forget to subscribe. If you like my videos, I appreciate everybody. Moto Pappy, my latest subscriber, thank you for subscribing. I've looked at your stuff too on your Instagram, pretty cool. And hope to see more. This is Randy T-Bird, signing off.